What if the thing you've been working on is also the thing that's quietly breaking you? Not because you're weak, not because you're doing it wrong, but because somewhere along the way you started carrying responsibility that was never yours. Welcome to UnCeiling You, High Performance Leadership Without Burnout. I'm Dr. Natalie Luke. Today's guest built exactly what the world said success should look like. C-suite, family, stability, all of it. And she was miserable. Guest didn't burn out because she failed. She burned out because she succeeded at someone else's version of her life. And the moment she realized that, everything changed. Here's what I want you to listen for today. There's a difference between responsibility you own and the responsibility you've absorbed. Most high performers can't tell which is which. And by the end of this episode, you will. Let's get going. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I'm so excited. You've built what most people would call a successful life, a C-suite, a family, stability, like you were doing it all. But you said something that I felt was super interesting, that you were performing success. When did you first realize that you were actually doing what looked like success, but it didn't really feel like it?
When did I feel like that? Gosh, probably towards the latter half of my 30s, as I was getting closer to 40, when I had everything I thought I wanted on the outside. And it was my definition of success. I was very clear about exactly what it looked like. And I worked so hard, almost 20 years to get there. And I just felt so empty on the inside. And that's when there was a pivotal moment where I had to really step back and say, I should be brimming with joy and passion and excitement. And I was happy. I had all of the external pleasures. Money can buy many, many things. And I bought all of them. And there was just an inner emptiness, a sadness. And so that's when I really had to step back and look at what I had built.
From other podcasts, one of the things we talk about with Dr. Ardeshir, he talks about the difference between pursuing ambition versus pursuing fulfillment. And looking back, how much of that do you think you were carrying things that weren't actually yours, like expectations or roles or pressure that no one really explicitly assigned to you?
Yeah, a lot of it really was how I was raised. I was raised an immigrant, and in India, it's all about, when I came to the United States, it was you put your head down, you work really hard, you surround yourself with really intelligent people and make sure you're successful, make your parents proud. And success meant having a big house and a fancy bank account and, the car that you were driving and the shoes that you were wearing. And I had all of those things and I had the title and that was my parents' definition of success. That was the way I was raised. And I think a lot of us believe that's what true success looks like. But there are other elements to it that I recognized were lacking in my life. And so that was really when I had to, yes, I had all of these outside external measures that got me where I wanted to be, but there was a lot of internal fulfillment that was lacking.
And now that you're looking back, how would you describe success today versus fulfillment?
I think you need fulfillment to feel truly successful. I think it's important to have enough money to be able to enjoy a certain level of living. Yes. And at the same time, there has to be passion and excitement inside of you. You've got to wake up and feel motivated to go out and do what you're here to do. Success to me is also living life on your own terms by nobody else's standards. It's recognizing that at this phase of my life, spending a certain amount of time with my children is success to me. I can have a successful business or run a really successful company and find time to spend with my children and go on a vacation if I need to, not be chained to my email and my phone all the time, not be on Zoom calls, at somebody else's beck and call, setting my life up such that I can do all of these measures, I think is really important. That's what true success is.
One of the things that you described was hitting that perimenopause storm. And I remember feeling it for myself. And I'm just curious, was it just hormonal
Yeah, I think what's really interesting is as you get closer to your 40s, you recognize that you've earned so much wisdom. You've lived so many experiences and you no longer give a shit as much as you did earlier on. You just don't. You're no longer living on everybody else's terms. You're no longer trying to people please as much. You're a lot more confident in who you are. And I think that's built over the years because of various life experiences that you've had. I certainly wish I could have been this confident in my 20s and my 30s, but I was learning at that point in time. And this is how you grow, and circumstances and experiences morph you into who you become in your 40s. And so when perimenopause hit, it kind of coincided with this point in my life where I was also kind of stepping back and saying, what am I doing professionally? I've done all of these things. I've gotten to where I want to be. There's still this emptiness within me. And at the same time, I look at myself in the mirror and I don't recognize my body anymore. My hair is falling out. My moods are, I've got all these mood swings and I'm snapping at my kids left, right, and center. And I keep forgetting these things. I was juggling all these balls and so proud of doing such an amazing job, running board meetings, not dropping, and nothing fell through the cracks. I mean, I was so good at my stuff. And then 40 came around and I couldn't recognize who I was. And so it was crazy at that point in time. And I was pulling my hair out, but at the same time, it was probably the most impactful moment of my life because it really allowed me to see, yes, you do have to balance your hormones. There is a medical aspect of getting, your hormones looked at and your general overall health looked at, but also what is the purpose in your life? What are you truly here to do, to serve? Who are the friends that you're hanging out with? Who are the people in your inner circle who really impact how you live and your thought process? And then recognizing that I get to put myself first now. All of these years I've taken care of my family and my kids and the business and the household, and my body was always on the back burner. And I could get away with that in my 20s and my 30s, but no longer in my 40s. I had to take care of my body before I could pour into anybody else.
I want to stop you here because this part is personal for me too. When your body starts pushing back, the brain fog, the sleep disruption, the mood swings, the exhaustion, we go straight to, what's wrong with me? But what if the question is wrong? What if your body isn't malfunctioning? What if it's the most honest voice in the room and it's saying you have been carrying too much for too long, and some of what you're carrying isn't even yours? It's not a weakness. That's your system doing exactly what it's designed to do. The question isn't, how do I fix my body? It's, what do I need to stop absorbing? So some of the symptoms that you're talking about with the perimenopause, I experienced the same thing. Plus, I had the sweats. And what was most embarrassing was that for me, it would start in my face first. And I remember I play tennis and it's in the middle of the winter. Well, it's getting to be close to, March, and I live in Michigan. A lot of women go down to Florida for a little bit, to get some spring break. And I had my hot flash while I'm on the tennis court. And they're like, oh, you went down to Florida. I'm like, no, that would be a hot flash. And that was like the final straw.
Yeah.
Like, I have got to get this taken care of. Plus, for me, it was, there were nights where I was just straight up awake.
Yeah. I mean, I
night.
have never had problems sleeping. I've always said the biggest joke was the most exciting point in my day is getting into bed because I could sleep for 9 hours straight, no problem. And then I couldn't. I'd wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning with all these different thoughts going through my head, trying to figure out all of the things I did not get done. Now I remember where this thing was kept. It was just completely, crazy until I figured it out and got it all taken care of. But there was a good chunk of time. And the frustrating part is when you go through stuff like that, what do? You go see your doctor and say, what is going on? I have this laundry list of symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And my doctor looked at everything and he did my blood work and said everything looked fine. He said everything looked fine. And actually, in this really condescending manner. I remember him saying, what you really need is a night out with your girlfriends and go get a glass of wine. He was like, you're just stressed. Go enjoy a glass of wine. And he did say, if you really want something, I have an antidepressant for you, which I was in the wellness space. I knew I wasn't depressed. There's nothing wrong with antidepressants, but I knew that wasn't the issue. And so you go back home and you're like, there is something wrong with me. I'm crazy. What is wrong with me? So yeah, I spent many nights just crying myself to sleep. And then there's only so much of sitting in that place of victim. I've got to do something about it. Nobody was coming to save me.
I think it's beautiful that we're talking about this because I experienced the same thing from my doctor. And in fact, I ended up having to see a specialist because he wasn't hearing me for so many years. But I want to bring us back to the high-performing women in corporate who are experiencing these, because one of the things that you so beautifully said is that you not only look at your body and what's happening with your body, but you also have to take a look at your thinking. You look at the people that you're hanging out with. You look at your expectations, like what is being expected of you. And one of the things that I see from high-performing women is who are burned out because we're so used to taking care of everybody else, and now it's time to start taking care of ourselves, and we have to take a look at the invisible responsibilities. You listed so many: taking care of the family, taking care of the work, taking care of your employees, taking care of all these things, and your body is finally saying, this is too much, hold on. I want to go on from there, and there's something else that you said that really stuck with me, and that's that you knew about the hormones and you work with wellness, you work in the wellness community, and still felt broken. Why do you think so many high-achieving women can intellectually?
I think there's a certain expectation that we set for ourselves when it comes to perfection, what perfection looks like. And we're constantly yearning to get there. And at some point when you hit burnout, things don't look perfect. And it's at that point you almost question your identity a little bit, because until now, you've been able to do things as close to perfection as possible. And now you're doing everything you can. You're running just as fast, and your body is failing you. But you have this identity in your mind. This is who you identify as. And what is wrong with my body? Why is my body failing me? And it's almost this internal blame game that happens where it's like, there's something wrong with me.
Did you catch what just happened there? She didn't say she was afraid of losing control. She said she didn't recognize herself without it. That's the identity trap. When the one who handles everything stops being something you do and starts being something you are, letting go doesn't feel like growth. It feels like you're being erased. So you hold tighter, you work harder, you overfunction, and the people around you never get a chance to step up. Not because they can't, but because you won't let that space exist.
So there's this disconnect between who you think you should be intellectually and what your body is actually doing. And when you step back and recognize that this is just biology, this is how the human body evolves, there's so much beauty to it. There's so much beauty to recognizing that your body is throwing its hand up and saying, you can do all of these things, but stop and take care of me, because I'm going to be the catalyst that's going to push you forward. But stop and recognize that. And when you do, it can really be the most empowering second chapter of your life. But it's taking those steps to get.
Yeah, I think it's so powerful. So one of the things that, as I said before, I play tennis, and we have a tennis coach. He's one of the best in the country. We're so lucky to be able to work with him. He works with men college tennis players. And so he takes some time with us. And one of the things that he was sharing with us is that before we hit the ball, we need to relax the hand that is holding the tennis racket. Just relax it, because when you relax it, then you can whip through the ball a lot faster because your hand is relaxed. And so this weekend I was playing against my husband, and I have usually a vice grip on that tennis racket. And I was playing a set and I was down two games to 5, one more game and he will have won, which he likes to brag when he wins. So I thought, I have nothing to lose but to just relax that grip. Just relax. And lo and behold, I actually won 7-5. So yeah, it was such a good lesson in terms of just relax. Here's why the tennis story is bigger than tennis. When you grip too hard in sports, in leadership, in life, something counterintuitive happens. Your performance drops. Your response time slows. Your adaptability disappears. And the harder you grip, the more exhausted you become. And here's what nobody talks about. The grip doesn't just hurt you, it reshapes the entire system around you. When a leader over-controls, your team stops bringing ideas because they learned you'll redirect them anyway. Decisions slow down because everything has to route through you. Your most capable people start to disengage, not because they're weak, but because there's no room to be strong. You become the bottleneck, and the organization starts depending on you instead of growing beyond you. Here's the framework I use to name this. There's a difference between role responsibility, what's actually yours to deliver, and what I call absorbed responsibility, the outcomes, the emotions, the decisions that aren't yours to own, but that you've been carrying anyway. It's going to work out. And it kind of goes along with what you just said. Sometimes there's a part of us that people don't tell us that, hey, you don't have to work at that level. You can just take a step back, take a look at the big picture. And I love what you said about that perfection. It's like we have a vice grip on what that perfection should look like and what does happen when you actually relax it a little.
There's ease and flow to how you go about doing things. And I think it's received that much better as well by the employees that you're working with. You're a lot more pleasant to deal with. You're a lot more encouraging and present with them. You're physically listening to them, and they recognize that you're physically present, even mentally and emotionally present, versus going through this Rolodex in your head of all of the other, tasks that you need to get to, or you're not physically present for them. And then there's a disconnect versus when you let go of this preconceived notion of who you should be or what things should look like, and you're actually there, the connection is a lot deeper.
Yeah. Let's make this real for a second, because I don't want this to be a nice idea you forget tomorrow. There's 3 types of responsibility that every leader carries. The first is role responsibility. That's yours. The work, the deliverables, the outcome that lives in your lane. That is what you get paid to do. Own this completely. The second is outcome responsibility. These are the results that depend on multiple people, your team, other departments, market factors. You influence this. You don't control it. There's a big difference. And then the third, I think, and the most important, is emotional and corporate responsibility. Other people's reactions, their decisions, their performance. This one is not yours. And this one is the one most highest performers are quietly drowning in. So here's the sorting question I want you to try this week. When something stresses you out, before you act on it, ask, is this mine to own, or mine to influence, or mine to release? Because most of what's exhausting you right now is the third category, and your body knows it. I love that. And then what happens is you're able to solve problems, but you're not solving them by yourself. You're bringing in all these other ideas because you're present.
Yeah. And you're so much more relatable. Employees don't want to look at you as this perfect supervisor or a senior or a leader. They want to be able to connect with you. And connection comes by not always doing the perfect thing, letting things drop, messing up. How do we all learn? We all learn by making mistakes. That's the best way of learning. And your employees want to see you. They want to see you truly share with them what you're going through so they feel like they can connect with you. That's what builds the most loyal employees, is when you just let go of this tightly wound up C-suite person you think you should be and are just a human being with them. Like, relax, be yourself, be authentic, talk to them like you normally would, and let your guard down. I think life is so much easier. We take things way too seriously. Way too seriously. We get to have fun.
Yeah, I love that. So now you've created Soul Women, which is not just about health, because you talked about, hey, yes, we have to pay attention to our body, but all the other things that are around us. It's community, it's structure, it's accountability.
Yeah. So Soul Women was founded really for me because I went through it all alone and struggled through perimenopause. And I didn't have the support I needed. So the three pillars, the three really important ingredients to surviving perimenopause and really thriving through it is one, functional medicine, which is the clinical side. We want to look at your hormones. We want to get them balanced. You want to look at your diet, your nutrition, your lifestyle, the exercise that you do in this phase, which is very different from what you do in your 20s and your 30s. What you need in your 40s is different. So recognizing that's functional medicine, the physical body. The second pillar is really mindset and accountability and nervous system regulation, which comes down to us type A women being so tightly wound that for us to really feel safe within our bodies, for us to have pleasure, for us to have sex and enjoy it, we have to let ourselves ease from within. And that comes through nervous system regulation. There's no supplement out there that's going to help regulate your nervous system. It's a practice that you need to learn. And it's going to take you so far and wide if you actually embody it and take that on. The second pillar of that is the mindset component, which is where you get to put yourself first. You get to take care of your body and yourself before you take care of everyone else. So that's the second one. The third one is community, sisterhood. Women need other women. We all have fabulous partners. We have male friends, but women, there's a certain co-regulation that happens when women come together and really, truly, openly share with each other, are vulnerable with each other. They fall apart in front of each other and, you build each other up together because nobody else understands the insecurities a woman goes through when they're going through perimenopause. There's so much shame associated with it, and it's all kept internal, especially with us women who are executive C-suite level, trying to keep that facade of perfection. We don't talk about it. It's all insecure, held inside, which we don't need to because everybody is feeling the same thing. Yeah. So come together, talk about it, and not feel like, not feel ashamed about it. So those are really the three main pillars: functional medicine, mindset, nervous system regulation, and find your tribe of women.
Nandita just described the three pillars of Soul Women. It sounds like a wellness model, but listen to what it's exactly doing: body support, mindset reset, and community. That's not just a health program. That's a redistribution of load. Instead of one person, you holding everything, you build a system, relationships, and structures that share the weight. That's not a weakness. That's architecture. The best leaders I've ever studied don't carry more than what's theirs. They build better systems for carrying. And here's the thing about that. You can't build those systems while you're white-knuckling everything yourself. I love that because I know when I was going through it, I felt alone. I was the oldest woman in the whole group with a sweaty face in a meeting, praying that nobody else saw it, but how can they not? Yeah, and a fan that was always on my face.
Yeah. And you have your perfect makeup on, which then starts to run.
Yeah.
But I want to point out, it doesn't have to be that way. And that's what I mean. Education is so important. And we have women, which is so amazing, that start as early as 35 who come to us. And I think it's incredible because they know what to expect and they set themselves up and swim through this phase beautifully. But if you don't know and you have your head in the sand, then get your head out of the sand, because there's lots of resources out there and we get to educate you on it.
There you go. So when you look at what you built and you have the coaching, you have the medical insight, the accountability, it almost feels like you're helping women redistribute responsibility. Like you don't have to take it on all yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And also prioritizing. I feel, urgency is interesting for women who are type A. It's like we're just trying to put out fires. It doesn't matter what it is. We're constantly firefighting. Versus if you sit down and really prioritize the number of hours you have and what is truly important to you during the day. And then that's what you're focusing on versus just trying to do everything else. And then delegate the stuff that isn't that important. Get yourself a housekeeper. Get yourself a VA to help you with tasks that you have always taken on. Get your partner to jump in and help a little bit. Share with your partner how you're feeling. There's nothing wrong with that. That's, again, we struggle with it because we want to do it all, because we're we got this, but it doesn't serve you well.
Yes. It really, and just working out that dis-ease that you have in yourself.
Yeah. We have a lot of female executives who come in during this phase, and it's really around where do you want to spend the most time? What brings you joy? Prioritize those things. That's where you really put your time, and everything else we get to either. And in this world of AI, where so much can be automated, my God, there's so much that can be taken off of your plate. And small things I want to say, last week, this was me where I coach other women, but I caught myself. It was like I was hosting a dinner and my kids had 4 loads of laundry that was done. And my laundry room was a giant mess. And I was fixated on, I need to get this laundry room taken care of because I have people coming over for dinner. Now, was that the most important thing? Are the people coming over for dinner really going to walk into my laundry room and assess me and judge me and my worth based on how well that laundry room looked? Nobody cared, but it was me. That was an expectation I had set for myself. So I caught myself.
So if there's a woman who is listening right now and on paper her life looks super successful, but she's feeling exhausted, disconnected, starting to enter this time frame, what's the first thing she needs to do?
Go get your hormones looked at, because there's only so long you can let your body run on cortisol and adrenaline. It's going to catch up. So get your hormones, your gut taken care of. Figure out how to really reset your nervous system. Prioritize. What are the important things in your life? What is truly bringing you joy? Focus on those things. The things that are just, on the sidelines, you can either delegate, you can automate, or you just get rid of if it's not important enough. I think being fully present for your team is, for those of us who lead teams, is probably one of the most important things I can say, and connect with them. And we all have our number twos who we rely upon, allowing them to take on some of the duties, feeling confident in them and letting go of the reins a little bit to allow them to shine is so important, because we get to stand back and let them rise. We have had our time to shine and we continue to shine, but the people around us who support us also get to rise with us. Absolutely. You talk about scaling. That's what we do to scale.
Yes.
You bring the team under you. You bring them up with you. And everybody makes mistakes. They're going to make mistakes, and you allow that to happen, because that's how they're going to grow and get better at it.
Yes, they don't have to be perfect. So I feel like this was very intimate in the sense of you talked very candidly about some of the experiences.
getting your body taken care of and putting that front and center, surrounding yourself with other high-performing women and truly connecting with them at a deeper level. I think we all have friends who are high-performing, but do we really truly connect at a deeper level? I think it can be very lonely at the top, right? We've all been there. And unless we find our tribe and really talk to them and openly share, it can be a beautiful experience. We give our number twos a lot of responsibility without giving them true control of a situation. We are still the puppet masters, but we tell the number two person that they're in charge of something when they truly aren't, when I'm the one in charge. Does that make sense? I feel like I've noticed this a lot with my my C-suite members that I work with. So they hire,
Yes.
let's say they hire a manager under them or a C-level person under them. And they say, you're in charge of this. But truly, they're kind of micromanaging from the top and pulling the strings, which doesn't allow this person to really shine and take control of that job. And they keep coming back to the higher up person asking for help. So you never really let go of that job because you're constantly micromanaging. Again, rest of disaster is what I'm trying to say. It's like, so if you hand something off, truly hand it off, give them the authority, give them the control, let them run the show and really bring you the results. So you are truly hands off.
What she's describing has a name. I call it phantom delegation. You say the words to someone, you're in charge, but energetically, mentally, emotionally, you're still in charge. You're still tracking every decision, still second-guessing their calls, still available for every escalation. And your team, they can feel it. So they keep coming back to you, not because they're incapable, but because they've learned that you haven't fully left. Real delegation isn't just assigning the task. It's transferring authority. It's saying, this is yours to solve. Come to me with your results, not your problems. I'm here to give you tips, maybe, if you need them, if you're stuck, but not to rescue. And here's the payoff. When you actually do that, your best people stop performing for you and start performing for the work itself. That's when teams become exceptional. Yeah, I love that because I have not many direct reports, but for me, it's like, hey, we want to be able to call you and say that you are the expert at this particular position. And so what that means is that you are responsible for the outcomes of that particular project. And the only time I really want you to come to me is when you're stuck.
Yep, that's exactly it. It makes them a lot more confident. They learn to self-navigate versus coming to you for every problem that goes wrong. Often I find it's the type A women who do not want to let go of that control, though, versus the other way around, at least with the women I've been working with. They're so exhausted. They want to let go of things, but at the same time, they just want to have control over it. So it doesn't really serve them well. So it's like delegate, let them handle it, let them come to you. Have clear results and say, you need to get this done by this date. If not, we're going to be sitting down and talking. And if you can't get there, let me know ahead of time so we can problem solve. But you're not the go-to person anymore. It's their project to handle. Yep, exactly.
Yes. Here is what I want you to take from today. Burnout isn't always about workload. It's about carrying what was never yours to carry. And that path isn't about doing less. It's about getting clear. 3 things. Deliver what is actually yours, fully, excellently, and without apology. Influence what you can with your voice, your relationships, your vision. Release what isn't yours, the outcomes that you can't control, the emotions that you can't own, and the decisions that belong to somebody else. That's not stepping back. That's stepping into the right version of your power. And when you do, the people around you get to rise. Your body gets to rest. And the leader you've been capable of being finally gets room to breathe. If someone in your life is white-knuckling it right now, the one who's holding everything together, share this episode with them because they're probably the last person who would ask for help. I'm Dr. Natalie Luke, and this is UnCeiling You. Keep going.